great to have them here. It's very fortunate for all of us that they're here, because they care. And we also want to say thank you to our guest speaker and his beautiful wife, Cindy. She's the lady that anchors the family. So, and that's great. So we're going to go ahead and go through, and we have a full agenda, and we have a great lunch afterwards. So, and hopefully you'll enjoy this. Hopefully this is the first installment of many things to come. We want you to hear people that have done great things in their life, and hopefully you'll learn from that. That's what we want. And you know what? No one else is doing that in this city. We are doing it. We are Catholics. And that's something that you should always remember. So, I kind of started out a little bit, but first and foremost, we want to thank our guest speaker, Mr. Pete Hackett, for sharing his life experiences today with our soon-to-be leaders of Catholic Central. And that's what you are, leaders, soon-to-be in the community and guiding our community to great things. We also want to thank his best friend, the anchor of his life, his wife, Sarah. Behind every successful career is a supportive spouse. Remember that. That's what it's all about. In many ways, it is one of the many secrets to happiness when you can say that we did it together. It's never I, it's always we. We are excited and grateful to kick off our very first presentation of the Catholic Central Leadership Series today. It is a series of 3 presentations per academic year from distinguished Catholic Central alumni. So you're going to get diversity of people with different styles, different meanings, different emphases that you can learn from. But at the end, the freshmen here are going to see 12 presentations. So you're going to be able to learn 12 different people that have already been there and done that. And please, don't take it upon yourself to make the same mistakes that other people have made. Learn from these people. We are very fortunate to have the opportunity to experience a Catholic education. It is unique, and programs such as this extends its uniqueness. It is a chance to learn from the experience of our alumni. This interaction, as well as the programs such as this, distinguishes Catholic Central from its peers. It offers value. It brings our Catholic Central families together. It gives our students an experience that is healthy, nurturing, and prepares you as tomorrow's leaders in whatever it is that you choose to do. There's no intention here. You have your own personalities. You have your own destiny. You will make life as you see it. There have been a vast number of alumni which have walked through these very halls, sat in these very classrooms, and played on our athletic fields and our courts. This includes former students destined to become religious clergy, such as priests, nuns, and deacons. Senior executives representing national and international corporations, business leaders of entrepreneurial businesses, nationally acclaimed surgeons like Pete's son, Washington, D.C. attorneys, as well as alum on the Obama Education Council, college professors, our very own teachers and staff. Our alumni have been Pentagon officials, judges, attorneys, CPAs, as well as graduates and commissioned officers of the United States Naval Academy. They have been professional athletes, Super Bowl coordinators, and horse racing executives. We can go on and on. This is Catholic Central. Maybe someday, one of you will speak at a Catholic Central leadership event. We would want nothing else but the best. And we certainly hope that you carry that forward. We want this to be a learning experience for you, so we will ask you to write a paper on lessons learned from Mr. Hackett's presentation and his advice today. Just remember that you get out of life what you put into it. Just remember that. So listen, take notes, and please don't be afraid to ask questions. That's how you learn. And one last thing, relax and enjoy the experience. No one else in the city is getting the same attention and learning experience that you're getting today. This series is unique, as each and every one of you are, because you're part of the Catholic Central family. So this shifts some gears now. You got a little bit of background on what you're here for today and what the meaning behind the whole thing is. Let's talk about Pete. Let's start with Catholic Central. He graduated from Catholic Central in 1955. He was the president of his class. He has been one of the Central's biggest supporters, earning induction into the Catholic Central Hall of Honor in 2008. Post-Central graduation, Mr. Hackett earned additional degrees from the University of Notre Dame in 1959 with a bachelor's degree in economics. He went on to Ohio State University, the Ohio State University, and got a master's degree in accounting. The one thing I want to point out here is that both of these schools are rated as top 100 schools in the United States of America by the U.S. News Report. Mr. Hackett, after graduation, then went to business, and I mean literally went to business. He was an influential leader at today's company, Clark, Schaefer, and Hackett. It is a top 100 CPA and advisory firm in the United States with offices in Cincinnati, Cleveland, Columbus, Springfield, Miami Valley, Toledo, Ohio, as well as Northern Kentucky. And they're celebrating 80 years of existence. The following is a quote which says it all about Mr. Hackett's leadership qualities from a very good friend of his. And I quote, "Pete Hackett is a living legend, one of my personal heroes. He's a consummate family man, a committed Catholic, extremely successful businessman, a community leader, and numerous halls of fame, and yet the humblest man I know. Pete distributes communion to the infirm, donates countless resources, and does much more, and yet is hard-pressed to talk about it. He'd much rather solve the next problem example of leadership. Without further introduction, after our prayer, we're going to introduce Mr. Pete Hackett.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear God, thank you for bringing us here together today. Help us to be open to all of the ideas Mr. Hackett will share with us about faith and about leadership. Help us to use these ideas as a foundation for how we can be leaders for each other and how we can be signs of your loving mercy, just as Elizabeth Ann Seton was, even in the face of pain and sorrow. Through her prayers and through her intercession, help us to learn to lead others, to love and lead like you. We ask this in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and teacher. Amen. In the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Hackett.
Good morning, students, faculty, staff, guests. It's a privilege for me to be here this morning. I just had a call this morning from my daughter who graduated in 1986. She still has a child in high school. What are you doing home? And I said, well, I'm going to go up and talk to the Catholic Central High School. You're what? And she said, at least they'll be happy about getting 2 hours out of school today anyway. So what's an old man doing talking to these high school kids? Well, I think I've got something to say. First of all, I want to talk to the freshmen. Where are the freshmen here? All right, 67 years ago, I was a freshman here in this Catholic Central High School. I had moved here from another city. I didn't know anybody. I couldn't figure things out. I didn't know the processes. I hated it. I hated it for my whole first year. I did fall in love with it the last 3 years, but I hated it my freshman year. I don't want that to happen to you. So if there are any freshmen out there with anxiety, haven't figured things out yet, you don't know where the classes are, but worst of all, if you get up in the morning and don't look forward to coming to school, I want you to seek help. This is a caring institution. You can seek help from your classmates, from the faculty, from the administrative staff. They're here to help you. It's a very caring community. You got to tell them what your problem is. I want you to fall in love with this school by Christmas time, and I guarantee you that if you have any problems now and come forward, you will love this place by Christmas. I still love this school. I still care about my classmates. As a matter of fact, yesterday I had lunch with 4 of my classmates. A couple of them were a year ahead of me, but all good friends. Every 2 weeks, we have lunch together. One of our good friends is in a nursing home, so we go and take him out of the nursing home and have lunch every 2 weeks. About 5 or 6 weeks ago, I was at St. Raphael's at 4:30 Mass, and I counted the number of classmates. My classmates, 8 of my classmates were at 4:30 on Saturday afternoon. I still care about my classmates. I pray for them. I did want to say, I thought his introduction was a little over the top, but believe me, the Pete and Sandy Hackett family have been very, very blessed. And I want that same thing for all of my classmates. Now, obviously, a lot of us are gone. In fact, I hate to get emails every day. At my age, we're losing members. But I want the people who are still living for the few years left, I want them to have the same blessings that I have. And I hope 50 or 60 years from now, you're going to feel the same way about your classmates. You're going to, hopefully some of you will be here in Springfield, but you're going to come back and remember and keep in touch and pray for the members of your class. Now, I'm going to talk about 3 things today. I'm going to talk to you about education, I'm going to talk to you about leadership, I'm going to talk to you about personal development. First of all, I want to ask you a question. Did you make your bed this morning? Let me ask you again. Did you make your bed this morning? Here's a book, Make Your Bed. I want you to read it. 2-hour reading, really. But here's the story. It's written by an Admiral William McRaven, who was also a Navy SEAL. But his theory is this: if you get up in the morning and you make your bed, you have finished a task, T-A-S-K. you'll finish the task. And if you do that with a little energy and enthusiasm, that's going to carry you through the whole day. Your next task is eating breakfast. Your next task, getting to school on time. Your next task, attending classes, paying attention. After school, you're going to football practice, cheerleading practice, work, whatever it might be. That's another task. You get home at night, you eat supper, a task. Then you do homework and do it on time. Then you get up, you've had a good day. So you've confronted each one of these tasks with energy and enthusiasm, I said. And he thinks that'll take you a long way. To get up in the next morning, start all over again. But tasks take discipline. And if you've heard about Navy SEALs. I mean, sure don't have the discipline that the Navy SEALs has, but they're absolutely incredible, as you probably know. But if you complete these tasks every day, that takes discipline. It takes discipline to stay awake in class, to listen, to compete, to work, whatever you do after school. But it takes discipline. Let me give you a quote. The most valuable result of education is the ability to make yourself do the task you have to do when it ought to be done. Let me say that again. The most valuable result of education is the ability to make yourself do the task you have to do when it ought to be done. Okay, the next place I'm going is choices. You've got to make good choices. You're going to hear a lot today from me about choices and discipline. But every day you make lots of choices. You got to make good choices. We all know we're going to make bad choices. But bad choices can haunt you for the rest of your life. We all know relatives, friends, peer group. All you got to do is pick up the newspaper every morning and see people who have made terrible choices. And it will haunt you the rest of your life. Bad choices, drugs, alcohol, juuling, sex, bad marriage. All these are bad choices. So if you make more good choices than bad, it's going to take you a long way. Just make good choices. So easy to say, so hard to do. If you do make a bad choice, own it. Don't blame somebody else for your bad choices. You did it, own it, pick yourself up, and get going again. Start making some good choices. The choices you can choose. You can choose to do these tasks, to make your bed in the morning, do the task all day long. You can choose to take advantage of this Catholic Central education. You can choose to enjoy education. Here's my theory. You spend 20 or 25% of your life in education. Now, a lot of you have already gone through 15 or 18% of that. I know if you're juniors or seniors or something. But you got to get up in the morning and look forward to going to education, going to school. And I'm sure a lot of you don't. A lot of you hate English or hate math or science class. But even find a nugget in each one of those classes that you can latch on to, that you can enjoy. But enjoy your education. There's no sense getting up every morning and not looking forward to going to school. Choose your friends carefully, very carefully. I'm sure your parents will all agree with that. And your peer group. Choose your peer group carefully. My theory, you learn as much from your peer group as you do from your teachers in high school and college. If you've got the right peer group, you can learn an awful lot from them. Another choice is whether or not you're going to go to education beyond high school. We'll get to that later. I can go on, as you know, I go on for another half hour choice. You know what choices you make. You've got to make the right choices. If you make bad, we're not all going to make right choices all the time. When you make bad choices, as I said, get back up and start making good choices. Let me jump to another subject, communication. I know how you all communicate. Social media, right? You're Twittering, you're emailing, you're Snapchatting, you're texting, you're doing something. Well, and it drives me nuts. I know I'm an old fogey and it drives me nuts in my office. I've got somebody 10 feet away on the wall, on the other side of this wall, 10 minutes away. He emails me with questions and answers instead of walking out of his office maybe 30 feet and coming around. I like to see body language. Now you know I'm old. I understand that. But I want to tell you, in addition to social media, you're going to have to communicate verbally and writing. You're going to fill out college applications. You're going to do essays. You're going to do resumes. You've got to have good grammar. Even though you hate that English class and grammar, pay attention. We don't want any ain'ts, and we don't want the improper use of pronouns in any of your college applications or any of your essays or resumes. You got to do it. You got to do it right. So pay attention, grammar. All right. Do I think you need to go to college? The answer is no. Do I think you need further education? The answer is absolutely yes. You must get further education. I tell a story, this goes way back to my age, but two brothers. One was my age, brilliant guy, went to Ohio State, got his PhD in mathematics, taught at Ohio State for many years, wrote textbooks, college textbooks. His brother, 3 years younger, he wasn't big on school, so he bought his father's recycling business. It was a recycling business. And after he bought the recycling business, he bought steel companies, very, very successful. Both brothers were very, very successful. Unfortunately, one's gone now. But economically, they were in great shape. They had great family, great kids. All their kids were wonderful. And so it shows you that if you marry right and you do the right things, you don't have to have a college education. There's nothing wrong with apprenticeship programs. There's nothing wrong with being a plumber, electrician. There's nothing wrong with being a nurse assistant. There's nothing wrong with being a physical therapy assistant. There's nothing wrong going into programming, into computers. You don't have to have a college education. But let me tell you this, I don't care whether you stop at high school, whether you stop at college, you cannot stop educating. In fact, as you know, things are changing so fast today, you must stay educated. I'm suggesting you read the newspaper, at least the headlines, or watch news on television instead of with your telephones all day long. I want you to be good citizens wherever you are. I want you to vote, and I want you to stay on top of things no matter where you are or what work you're in. Let me talk to you about how knowledge has changed. I'm sure some of you probably already know this. I would have never known this had I not prepared for this speech. In 1900, knowledge was doubling every 100 years. In 1945, and I was alive then, knowledge was doubling every 25 years. Do any of you know how quickly knowledge is doubling today? I'm sure you can get on your phones and find out real quick. 13 months. Knowledge is doubling every 13 months. I can't get that in my head. I'm standing here today. If I come back 1 year from now and stand here again, imagine everything we know today is going to be twice as much 13 months from now. Just absolutely incredible to me. But so that is the reason you cannot stop education ever. Your education here at Catholic Central, wherever you go, molds your character. What is character? Character is the mental and moral qualities of an individual. You heard your parents talking about so-and-so's got character. In your own peer group, you talk about who's got character. Your off-class officers, you all know what character. You know character when you see it. So we all want character. Character defines your destiny. Your character defines your destiny. Do you know what character is created by? You guess. The choices you make and the discipline you live by are how it creates your character. Now, let me move to leadership. I used to think leaders are born. I still think some are born, but I've been proven wrong. In my own firm, we've had young men and women come in who wanted to lead a group of in our accounting profession, we got specialization like international tax or affordable care, certain aspects of the tax. I want to be a leader. I want to take a group and be that leader. So we have sent them away to workshops, and we send them away to colleges, and they come back and they are leaders. They're leaders of projects. Now I still think the leaders that I think are born are the great salesmen of the world, and it is hard to become a AAA salesman, but if you want to be a leader, you can be a leader. Obviously, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. You already know who the leaders are, your class officers, your peer group. Leadership shows up. You know it when you see it. But the definition of a leader comes from a book by John Maxwell, who's has a book on leadership. His definition of leadership is influencer, which seems like common sense. We know that people who are leaders, again, they influence other people. They can form teams and get things done. I like that definition. The three pillars of leadership are communication, not only social media. They have to be good verbal communicators, and they have to be good writing communicators. They have to know all three of these to be a good leader in today's world. Leaders make good choices. Duh, I guess we knew that. They accept discipline. They have a positive attitude. They make their bed in the morning and they complete all those tasks all day long with positive attitudes. They're enthusiastic. They're cheerleaders. They're the ones who can put a group together to build the float for the homecoming, or even in a chemistry lab. I think there's 3 of you. There's a leader there. One of those 3 people are typically the leaders. And again, you know them. You know who the leaders are. Leaders are high energy. They work hard and they play hard. They're good listeners, which I think is a very few people have good listening skills. I'm still working on it, as my wife will tell you. She'd really tell you I'm still working on becoming a better listener. But I really think very, very few people in this world are good listeners. All you do is watch television, or in class everybody's always talking over one another. But if you have good listening skills, I think you're a minority in this world. I really do. But it's a great, great virtue to be a good listener. Humility is another attribute of a leader. They have to empower people. They've got to put these groups together. And they have to have high integrity. They build trust, and they have a great reputation for leadership. They have vision. They obviously vision. Their people skills. All the above I just said, the people skills. And they're a change agent, which is something else again. I mean, I think very few people like change. We all like to do things the way we've done them. We have habits at the home, we have habits in the school, and we try to do what we've done in the past because we know how to do it. And it's a rare bird, I think, a rare people that really want change. Look at something and know how to change it. We built the float we got kind of a worksheet that knows how to build this float. Well, let's do it differently. Let's try something else. But I think you know who the good leaders are. And they are, the ultimate test of a leader is they can create positive change. And leaders share their time, talent, and treasury. And I'm going to talk, all of you need to share your time, talent, treasury. Treasury a little later. I'm sure a lot of you are not in position to share your treasury, but you will be someday. You will be someday. Now, let me move to personal development. First of all, I know Catholic Central High School is a Catholic high school, but I don't care what religion you belong to. I do hope you have a spiritual life and you have somebody in your life that you can turn to when things are bad, when down and out, when you have sickness in the family, you have death in the family. All of us encounter these problems. I know that my spiritual leader is God. That's who I call my spiritual leader is God. And I turn to God when things are not going well. When I need help, I ask God to help it. When I need peace, all of us need peace from time to time. And when you need peace, I hope you can turn to who your spiritual being is. It's a choice to know your God or make spirituality a part of your life. I recommend it. I think it's going to make your life easier. I think you're going to do a lot of things. Your marriage is going to be better. I can rattle off a lot of things. But I do hope you make a choice to put your God in your life. And I know there are other ways to find peace. Obviously, coming to school, your peers, your classmates, the faculty, the staff here, all want to help you. This is a caring institution, but you've got to be willing. You've got to be willing to share your thoughts and what's bothering you with other people, and they have to share likewise. What do we call that? I'm sure some of us call that group therapy. I believe in group therapy. I think it's been very helpful to all of us. Your peers are a great source of comfort to you here at school. So share your emotions with your peers and your friends here when things are down and out. I know you pray together a lot at Catholic Central, and praying together is another wonderful way to find peace. We can never do that often enough. Look, choices are hard. Discipline's hard. Life is hard. And let me tell you, if you don't know this already, I know you do, life is not fair. There's going to be times in your life, I always tell, we look over here at this family, economically they're doing well, looks like they got a great marriage, got wonderful kids, smart kids, but let me tell you, they're hurting too. Don't be envious. You've got to, if you make the right choices, you have discipline in your life, things are going to work out well for you in the long term. You're going to have ups and downs like all of us do, but if you keep choices and discipline in your life, you're going to do fine. Your attitudes will always make a difference in your life. Just remember, every one of you are special. You were a miracle when you were born. You are living, thinking, going to school, working, making choices every day. You are unique. There's no other human being in the world just like you. You have gifts that no other human being in the world has. You need to share those gifts with your parents, with your classmates, with your faculty, with your staff here. Share those gifts. You've got to be willing to give your time and treasury. I've said that a couple times and I'll keep saying it. Winston Churchill. You've never heard Winston Churchill, I'm sure most of you not. He was Prime Minister of England during the Second World War. Germany was bombing England every day. The citizens didn't know whether to survive. Winston's on the radio every night. No TV then. He's on the radio every night trying to keep his citizens pumped up. We shall overcome. We're going to beat the Germans. We're going to find a way to overcome. We all know our country went over to help them out. But anyway, Winston Churchill is full of quotes, but let me give you one quote this morning. We make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give. Let me say that again. We make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give. And years from now, today you can share your time and your talent with people. And many years to come, you can share your treasury. Now, after you get out of school, finish your school. I said, don't ever finish. You got to read books. You got to read the paper. You got to stay awake of what's going on. You got to vote. But when you find a job, I'm going to tell you the same story I said about education. You're going to spend 50% of your life in a job. Find one that you love. Don't get up in the morning and hate going to work. I've always said I think 50% of the world hates their job. I read recently, I think it's only 41%, but you don't want to be part of that 41%. You want to find a job that you can get up in the morning, just like I said about school, and look forward to going to work. And it may take you 5 or 6 jobs. I've had 2 jobs in my life. I'm way over the hill, way over the hill. My one son's probably had 5 jobs. You may have 5 or 10 jobs. Who knows? But don't give up. Don't give up until you find the right job that you can get up every morning and look forward to going to work. And as I talked to you before, hard work's going to take you a long way. This couple that we're kind of envious about, but we're not. We're going to get back to our own day-to-day living and hard work. But let me tell you the definition of luck. The definition of luck is where hard work and opportunity intersect. So when you see that opportunity, and you will sometime in your life, you must recognize that opportunity, grab hold of it, and go with it. Now, in closing, I want to talk to you about a fellow by the name of Ken Langone, Langone. Ken was born in New York City, poor family. He said I think his dad was a plumber, so they might not have been as poor as he said they were. But anyway, he said he had a job at 7 years old. When he was in high school, he had 3 jobs. Very aggressive guy. You may have heard of him recently. He funded the Ken Langone School of Business at New York University. And I heard somebody on television refer to it as Ken Lang. No, it's Ken and Elaine. My wife had as much to do with this as I did. We were a team. We did it together. Man, he came out of his seat almost because they didn't mention his wife. But another story is just very recent. He gave another $100 million to New York University for free tuition in medical school. So if you want to apply to medical school at New York University and you're good enough to get in, there'll be no tuition for 4 years. You got to pay room and board, but no tuition. Ken Langone, I act like I know him. I don't know him. I've just read about him. He's got a book out, I Love Capitalism, but I see him on TV a lot. He was one of the founders of Home Depot, so he's obviously a very wealthy guy. But here's his stakes. Here's the stakes that he has for a good life. Take religious faith seriously. Marry for the long term. I'm not a marriage counselor, and I'm not going to give you advice, but I will tell you this. It will be the most important choice you make in your life, who you marry. So Make the right choice. That's my editorial comment. I'm back to Ken Go now. Number 3, you teach values by living them. Number 4, pray at the feet of hard work. Money does not buy everything. Stay excited. There is no defeat except in giving up. You can't give up. I always think of Jim Valvano's foundation, Jimmy V, the basketball. Never, 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 never give up. Don't ever give up. But there is no defeat except giving up. Look, my final wish for you is that you make the right choices and you live by discipline. Everybody stand. We're going to say the Our Father together. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your attention.
What was your favorite thing when you were here at Catholic Central?
I guess the people, and it is a unique. It's a unique place. It's for me. I mean, in those days, it was a unique. Our high school in those days was 500. In fact, my class was 133, which was the largest class in 1955. But some of my kids, this school got up to 800 kids. It went in the 70s, the mid 70s, late 70s. We're up to 800 kids. But it is amazing. You know, the other thing I want to talk about. One other thing I didn't have in my outline, but I thought about it. Look, I hope some of you people come back to work here. You know, we've got to create jobs for you. We understand why nobody's coming back to Springfield. You know, we've gone from 80,000 down to 60,000. I think our chamber's doing everything it can. We have done a good job in getting Speedway in here, Topri, which used to be out the International in Belmont there, Silicus, I think Silicon, they build silicone out of Eaton, Ohio, and those are going to be really good jobs. The problem is none of the people are moving to Springfield. They're all moving to Columbus or Dayton, Beaver Creek or something. And we have a brain drain. Every community, in my opinion, I'm really off the topic now, but in my opinion, any company to go forward has to have leadership. And we have a void, in my opinion, in this town. Don't quote me. But since Dick Kuss and Fred Leventhal are gone, we have a void in leadership in this community. In every town our size, which is the Rust Belt Midwest, I say Richmond, Indiana, Muncie, Indiana, Canton, Ohio, Lima, Ohio, we're all looking for the same thing. We've all lost population, and we need to create more jobs. So we need some of you back here and become leaders of Springfield. But I know it's our job. We've got to create those jobs so we can bring you back. So I think we're working as hard as any other communities trying to bring jobs. But we need your leadership, and we need your input. We need your community leadership. We need your Catholic leadership. We need all kinds of leadership in this community. So I'm praying that this community will move forward, and someday some of you will be back here loving this community the way I do, and the high school the way I do. Yes.
So like when you went into college, did you know right what you wanted to do?
No, I did not. In fact, that's why I was in economics. When you know what you're doing, you're in economics. And that was in the liberal arts school at the time. So I knew that I had to go get a law degree or accounting degree. So I went to Ohio State, got my master's in accounting there, but I had to take 29 hours of undergraduate credit in accounting at Ohio State because I had only taken a few electives at Notre Dame, but that's where I got to like accounting. But my uncle were attorneys, and I thought, I want to be an attorney. Got married young and thought, God, I want to get through school faster than that. So I went and got a master's degree in accounting. And it's turned out all right. Springfield's turned out great for us. We raised 5 children here in Springfield, Ohio, but unfortunately, none of them are here. 4 of them in Columbus, my daughter in New Jersey that was skeptical of my speech here this morning. Anything else? But no, I think I would guess at least 50% of your class or more, they don't know what they want to do at this point. Learn and live and enjoy. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Vicky. Very special. Very special. Today is a very special day. A very accomplished graduate from Catholic Central shared his life experiences and values to you, our high school kids. Our next generation of seniors will be graduating in May, going on to the next stage of their lives. Before you know it, as Pete says, you'll be entering different stages in life, and it'll come faster than you think. So be ready. And hopefully this experience is a stepping stone to getting ready. That's what it's all about. Is paying it forward. People that did it for us, we want to now do for you. I don't know of any other school in Springfield or Clark County that share and connects these important milestones, bringing Catholic Central graduates to students in high school. That's what it's all about. It's all about Catholic Central. It brings a lot of us back home. Just remember one thing. Actually, 4 words. Once Irish, always Irish. Thank you for attending, and we will see you again in February, extending our Catholic Central Leadership Series with our next special guest. So I hope that you enjoyed this today. I want you to come forward. Give me your opinions, advice, thoughts. It doesn't matter. I'm all about making this beneficial for future generations. That's why I'm here. And like I said, I hope you enjoyed today's presentation. So, okay. That's it.
We have the junior high choir. This is Deweese. I knew when she was apostate, but she's going to come in here for a second with the choir and sing. Okay, and then first of all, I have no idea what's going on. So, what we'll do is after the choir, everything's finished with this, correct? Everything's finished up here. So, we will take the chairs that you're sitting in and put them around the tables, if they don't have a chair yet. And then, if you would please, just sit at that table, because the food's going to be out here. So we will dismiss you by class to go get your food and come back. Go to the restroom, come back here. As far as getting your things from your fourth period class, we'll take care of that after lunch. We do have some pictures as well that was supposed to be taken, so I will be calling you up as soon as I get that list. My knowledge is definitely the student council officers. Student council officers will come, oh, look at the little fans up here. They're going to be coming in here. Are they coming in that door? They're going to come in this door. So we'll let them sing, and then student council officers will come up here for pictures. While they're doing that, Mr. Fuller, can they go ahead and move it, during the pictures, move the chairs, or just want to wait? Okay, after the singing, student council will get the pictures taken. You'll put the chairs at that time, and then I want to see the homecoming court for pictures. We'll do that out in the lobby.
One more thing, after we do the student council pictures, any board members that are here, we would like to have them also get the picture taken. David, you and I as well, okay? So but I think our ensemble is ready to go.